So, what is quantum jumping? How do we do it? Is it real? What's the science behind it? Because it does. Hi, this is Daniel Lakstins, and you're listening to the Ultimate Reality Surfing Program. You go ahead and hit subscribe right now and click like and hit the bell so that way you'll be notified when another amazing episode comes out. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ultimate Reality Surfing Podcast. I'm Daniel Lakstins and I'm your host, and the show is brought to you by the Ultimate Reality Surfing Coaching Program. If you really want to learn all about ultimate reality surfing and how to change and transform your life into the life you want, then be sure to go to ultimaterealitysurfing.com and click on
like a thing, like a button, a red dial.
Yeah, click on that button that then you can sign up on a Calendly with me, and then we can do a Zoom call and see if you might qualify for the program. If you are an entrepreneur and you got some mind blocks, program is great for that. If you need to get past 1 million or hit the 10 million, it's great for that. If you're not an entrepreneur, you really want to start an entrepreneurial business of some sort, it's good for that. But if you're also just wanting to change your life, feel free to click on that link. But hey, I have Todd Ronan on the show. This is awesome. Todd Ronan, remote viewer, psychic extraordinaire. Welcome to the show, Ronan.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm having a deja vu experience. I'm glad to have you here. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for sticking around with us.
Yeah, man, I tell you, life is just changing constantly. Have you noticed that? It's like things just keep changing. Isn't that kind of strange?
I didn't think things could get any faster, and yet things are moving along much more rapidly than they were a month ago, a year ago.
They are. I mean, who would have known? I mean, yeah, no, who would have known? So I am actually in a different place than I was a year ago, and I would never have believed that I would be here. Now, today's subject, by the way, is quantum jumping. This is awesome. And we're going to probably carry on this quantum jumping topic for a few shows, because it seems like that's something that you, the listener, are interested in. And so, what is quantum jumping? How do we do it? Is it real? What's the science behind it? Because it does come from quantum mechanics. Doesn't mean there's a mechanic that's working on quantum, but
Yeah, so imagine it like this. There was an idea of Star Trek The Next Generation, nerd alert, and Worf was able to jump through these different timelines and these different realities, and everything around him began to change, but he was still the same person. And so he was jumping into like a parallax or like a different vector of time. And you can do that to yourself. It's just a process. It's a mindset. It's a turning your attention to a new vector, a new direction, a new path in your life.
And the truth is we all are doing it all the time, and we just don't know it because we're not functioning off of our programming that we choose. We're functioning off the programming from childhood, from the church that we went to, depending on the country you're from school, from news, television, everything that you think about, you are being programmed by the outside world, what's outside of who you are. And the thing is you're not, most people walking around aren't even who they are. They're actually living out the lives of someone else's ideas, someone else's thoughts. A lot of times we call that ancestral paradigms, but there's other paradigms we're living out. Sometimes people get brainwashed into a cult, or they get brainwashed into a sort of business that they don't prefer to be in. Or there's other things, right? What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, I call it a closed box indoctrination or a closed box paradigm. What we're trying to do is we're trying to open the box for you and throw the walls down and make your own path so that you're not in. We're trying to re-indoctrinate you, but you got to break down everything that you thought you knew first.
And that's the way it is. So, hey, can you give us a synopsis? Oh, I guess you kind of did with well, we talked about quantum mechanics, but what about quantum jumping? Well, before we get into that, we might even mention that who was the one that really pioneered this. And do you know who that was, Todd? He had a
I haven't
cat.
seen the video in about
No,
10
it's all
years.
right. He had a cat, so a lot of people remember him from his cat, you know. But it was actually, so Schrodinger is a pioneer of quantum mechanics, and that's where this basically is coming from. And then we're talking, this is like real science. So when we're talking about quantum mechanics, that's what the physicists are dealing with. But it goes back to Schrodinger. Now, here's the craziest thing, though, is that, in my opinion, that Hugh Everett is accredited for the multi-worlds theory, but Schrodinger talked about it like 10 years before that. Yeah, it's so funny. But that's because he was the pioneer of quantum mechanics.
The cat is dead.
The cat is dead. Well, it is alive in other realities. The probabilities are there. So we might get into a little bit more of the science. We could talk about the particles. Yeah, I'm more of a science geek, I think, than you, Ronan. Is that the case? It probably so. I'm more of a science geek. Yeah, I even manufactured some scientific stuff at one time. I could make nanoparticles. So that's a
Wow.
millionth of a millimeter long bubbles inside a solution, and we encapsulate something, something healthy inside there. But so I always loved science, just like you. I was a Star Trek fan too. And but the thing is what we've discovered, or what scientists have discovered, is that these, you have an atom, then around the atom you have your electrons, protons flying around that. Well, those are called particles or quarks. And so you'll hear quarks, you'll hear particles, but those particles, they found, even a photon is a particle, but they found that they can disappear and reappear anywhere in the universe at will, which means they defy the speed limit of the universe, which is the speed of light. So they defy that. And the beautiful thing is what are we made of?
Energy and light.
Energy and light. And that's what the particles are made of. So it's all energy. When you look at quantum mechanics, it actually states that it's the reason why they can do this is because of the frequency. And so when we look into the law of attraction, we see that it's frequency that we're trying to rise up. The higher your frequency means then the more ability of disappearing and reappearing. You know what I'm saying? The heavier frequency is, that means that's what matter's made of, heavier, more dense. So that means it's a lower vibration, right? And then the higher vibrations is where light is. If you see a spinning wheel and it starts spinning faster and faster, the colors will change. And they'll go from the lower frequencies to the higher ones. So, and it's the same as our chakra scale, where you're starting out dark and then red and then go into yellow, green, violet, indigo, or whatever, and then and then eventually you don't see it because it's beyond our spectrum. But the frequencies still continue to rise higher and higher and higher. And so our goal in quantum jumping, at least what we teach, or what I teach, is that we want to raise our frequencies. And that means then if we're always struggling with fear, anxiety, worry, anger, these are all very low frequencies. Whereas when you get up into contentment or acceptance, when you look around the world and say the world's a terrible place, well, acceptance is a higher frequency. You start to look at the world and say, you know what? It's a great place. I think it's a beautiful place. Sure, we have some children that are messing things up, but if we can see the beauty in it, the sky, the trees, the water, there's all kinds of beautiful things that we can focus our attention on, and that will bring our vibration up. The higher your vibration, then the higher and quicker your manifestation to jump into alternate universe will be there for you.
the idea that I had when we were talking about it, I got the linkage between the bioavailability of flavonoids. When you take supplements in your body, you can use those supplements and you can use those flavonoids that are in the supplement,
Mhm.
and your body begins to use those. So we can do the same thing by raising our vibration, but that's a meditative state. It's not an ingesting supplement state, but it's more about meditation to go deeper, to go slower, to then feel that resonance and that build up within you so that you can just jump, impact, hop, move to the next event structure or event strategy in your life, right?
Right. Absolutely. Well, and, it's interesting too that all the plants, even clothing, that your clothes that you wear, cotton has a low vibration. There's like wool, some of the other fabrics have a higher vibration. Isn't that interesting? So that's the reason why a lot of times you'll see me wearing a nice jacket, but I'll also wear a cotton shirt. I don't care. I'm cool. I'm cool. Hey, it's fun, but yeah, there's a lot of thoughts that we have on this subject, and it's pretty amazing. So how can someone consciously choose what reality they want to quantum jump to?
You'd have to set up a system, and they could learn a system through taking your course on ultimate reality surfing, because that is another vector or another transportation system to get you into that higher realm or that different realm. I don't want to say higher, because when you jump to a new reality, it doesn't mean that you're higher. It could be parallel. It could be, in a different space. So there's systems in place you
Usually
can
the
use to do
next
that.
reality you jump into usually is going to be a better one, unless there's something that you have to accomplish in possibly a lower vibrational earth, a lower vibrational realm. um,
Well, you can use also quantum jumping to repattern negativity that has been affecting you and holding you back from accomplishing what you want to succeed in. So you could go back and reframe your existence, and what that does is it creates like a splinter. So you now live both timelines, and you have to adopt the new timeline with the resolved past instead of the trauma past timeline.
it's excellent. You're starting to sound like Frederick Dotson. I love it. Yeah. And Frederick Dotson, he's a good read too. Parallel Universes of Self. I'll shout that out to everyone. If you haven't read Frederick Dotson and you're listening to the show, chances are you're ready for the book. But most of the time, you're not going to find a lot of the books until you're prepared. You're ready for that next level. But yeah, Ronan's right. But I always say too is because some people say, well, why would I end up in this timeline? Well, that's because that's the path that you're on. A lot of times you've written out your path before you came to Earth. And so, I mean, don't beat yourself up for writing it out that way, because you're expanding, you're becoming a better version of yourself. And yeah, the Earth can be painful, and some of the experiences can be painful. And I still think that we should rewrite that, some of the pain, or lower the pain levels down, because I'm like, I don't think it was necessary to go through that much pain, some of the pain that a lot of us go through. And but it helps us to expand, you know.
Without that pain, where would the country songs be, though?
I don't know. Maybe we're
In
only,
order to make the country
that's
songs
the whole
work.
thing is, yeah, we're always experiencing that. But I personally, I try to find utopian type of movies, utopian songs. It can be difficult sometimes. It seems like
It's
we spend,
dystopian, all the rage.
it's all dystopian. And that's what gets people's attention. And I mean, you can watch someone kiss someone and go, damn, that's awesome. That gets you excited. But for some reason, what attracts people's attention is that big, loud noise, or that machine gun or shotgun, or the punch in the face, or the food fight in the cafeteria, something that you've never seen before. But I'm like, I'm kind of bored with all that. I'm ready to see some utopian, because that's all we see anymore is just negative, and people don't get along, or Kardashians, or it's like, oh, I'm always upset. The waiter, he sucks. I can't believe he did that. Dude, look what she's wearing. I can't believe that. And it's like, you know life life is too short to
We
be this full of
talked
negative.
about rewriting the script.
That's it.
And rewriting the script of our own life. We're the author of our own life. Anything that we do to empower that and to change that, either for the better, is a benefit to both ourselves in this lifetime, our future selves, and our past selves, and everyone that sort of hordes around us to see what it is that we'll do in this Truman Show existence. So
Mhm.
every time you decide to level up, either through a timeline jump, an internet a connection, then you're going to benefit all of that group.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of people, I reposted someone's quantum jump video, and like 12 hours, I've got like 2,000 views and 400 and over 400 likes and comments galore. And one of the comments was just that subject, where they're saying, because when we look at Dolores Cannon, she talks about that the worlds are separating, kind of like galaxies, and that the ones that's consciousness stay here, because us that have brought our consciousness up to a higher vibration will, when the worlds are separating, then we'll never see those people again. But I'm kind of, I look at Neville Goddard is what I responded. And I said, there's always hope, because Neville Goddard says everyone is you pushed out anyways. So as you are jumping into another world, into another world, into a better version of you, another world, then, you're going to still have your family members, but what you find sometimes, because I've experienced this, is things are different. People are different. Some people may even be not the friend that you used to have. And sometimes some of the people that you thought were like terrible or become like your best friends. And it's really strange, because they're like their vibrations, everything's mixed up. You're in a quantum. but yeah, but that's it's pretty cool though. Yeah. Yeah. I've actually most of the time jumped forward into a positive vector. But I did experience a negative vector though, this last jump. But I mean, not the last jump, but you know what I mean? The recent jump this past year. But it's okay. Yeah.
Level
Oh,
up is better.
but the point is about what we're talking about is that for us to really effectively quantum jump, we have to accept the reality that you're in right now is because of you. Once we accept that and own that, then you can then have more confirmation that you are capable of jumping to the next best place. So, but you have to own what you see around you, because, you only get who you are, so you can sit there and say that person over there is an asshole. And I can't believe it. They're an asshole. Why do I have assholes around me? Everywhere I go, just assholes. Well, chances are, you know,
So what I'd like people to take away from this is, in the old days, you used to have to turn the radio knob to get to a different station, and it adjusted the frequency, and there was a modulator that identified what amplitude of the FM module, FM or AM you had, and it changed the station. So just think of the new reality that you're embarking upon as a different station on the dial. You're always staying on this station. That's your reality now. But there's a
Groundhog
whole
Day.
other spectrum for you to open up into and to change the frequency to.
That's it.
It's that easy.
It is that easy. And so but the way we jump into the next world is that we change this vibration to match that frequency where the other version of you is on that other world. And that's how it works. So that means there's inner work, and then you have to write out your destination. What kind of life do you want to live? And if you don't know, go to ultimaterealitysurfing.com or www.ultimaterealitysurfing and click on Designing My Perfect Reality. It's a free download that you can get, that worksheet, and that'll get you started. You can actually design that or write that out and read it in the morning and read it right before bed. And within 21 days, you'll see some changes happening. So we call these manifestations. Quantum jumping and manifestations are pretty much synonymous. All these terms can cross over, but this actually helps to explain how manifestations happen on a scientific level too.
Yeah, the splitting of worlds theory that Dolores Cannon talked about in one of her books of Convoluted Universe series, I've looked at that too as a remote viewer, and I've tried to understand, did the world break? Does it move? Do we migrate? Is there a quantum jump involved? And I think it has to do with a frequency shift. So
That's
there are those of us who maintain our existence here on, we'll call it Earth Prime, and then there are others that move to a higher Earth. We'll call it, Earth Optimum. And the people that move and go to Earth Optimum, well, they still have an avatar existing here on Earth Prime, but now they're in a higher state, and
their
they're
consciousness has shifted from this avatar consciousness. It goes over into that the avatar on Earth Prime, or
right.
not Prime, Earth Awesome. No,
So Earth Optimum and Earth
Optimum.
Prime, there's an A and there's an O. We look at, Earth Prime, that's where we're at right now. But our Optimum is a different state. It's a different elevation. Now, when we go to that different Earth, my theory is that, like, the whole totality of us isn't there. There's a portion of our consciousness that's there, like when the portion of your consciousness dreams, but we're still operating on both Earths. We're still getting the lessons of both Earths. And I think it could happen as on the same time, or it could happen in a different timeline.
Yeah, one of the hypotheses I have going on, I'll go ahead and say it, is that the reason what's left behind is the lower vibration part of us. Because again, go back to Neville Goddard, everyone is you anyways. We're all a part of the universal consciousness. We're all sparks. Right. We're sparks of God. We split ourselves. So each of us around us, when we're angry at someone, then you're really just angry at yourself. I mean, if they're annoying, but it's usually because you've already went through what that person's went through, and you're ready for a different vibration. They're on a lower vibration. It just doesn't match frequency. It doesn't feel comfortable to be around them. But as you move up into, what is it, Earth Optimum?
Well, I just said Earth Optimum, which is the one that's the optimum, and like we're on Earth Prime because it's the one that we're living on here.
Did you just coin those right now, or is that?
I mean, I think I probably stole it from Marvel, but I don't know. I made it up.
I love it. Yeah. So this is really good. Yeah, but the main gist of that is that you are leaving behind a part of yourself, meaning that old life. And so, yeah, you'll never see that life again. You're going to be in the future and a whole new world. And every day, every thought that you have, every choice that you make is jumping into an alternate reality. And that's what everyone that you're here talking about, quantum jumping, we are doing it every second of the day, just by those two things that we can always control in your life. Two things you can control in your life? You can choose what you think about. You can choose what you think about, right? Because if you can sit there and think about something nasty, or you can think about something awesome. You can choose. It's like, I don't know why I just keep thinking of nasty things. But you can choose what you think about. Number two, you can choose how you respond to what is coming at you. So if someone comes at you in a mean way, you can choose to respond mean back, or you can choose to walk away, but you can choose how you respond. And with those two superpowers that you have, you can actually raise your frequency.
Excellent advice for the folks out there.
Yeah. Well, Ronan, dude, this time flew by really quick. I hope we covered enough of this quantum jumping stuff. Oh, no, we'll just have to come back to the next podcast, because we're going to talk a little bit more about quantum jumping, because we want to get more into one, how to design your quantum jumping reality. And number two, we want to also talk about some of us that have quantum jumped, and they tell you about our experiences. So be sure to listen to the next couple of episodes of the Ultimate Reality Surfing program. All right. Hey, it's great having you, Ronan, though. Thanks for coming.
Thanks. It's great seeing you too, and I'll see you next time.
Run over to ultimaterealitysurfing.com and download a free copy of Designing Your Perfect Reality.
Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that way you can always get this awesome content for helping you to create the best life ever. See y'all.
See you later, everybody.